I'll just spawn in this helicopter here. Oh, that looks awfully familiar. Almost like another game that I've played recently. Hello, welcome to Battlefield Hardline. I am going to do just a little first thoughts and impressions video on the beta that has just been released a couple of days ago. This is PS4 footage, and this is literally 5 minutes after I just finished about 3 or 4 games of Battlefield 4 with a friend. There was problems getting into a server when we tried it first, so we went into Battlefield 4. He left after a couple of games, and I managed to get back onto Hardline for a couple of games, and I started with the 64 player Conquest Large. Oh, that guy got it. I am a Battlefield fan. It is my favourite online first person shooting game, probably my favourite online game. Battlefield in general, the series, I'm not picking a particular one. And if you watched my video before, you probably remember me saying that Battlefield 4 had improved drastically in the last year, and in my opinion was the best first person shooter multiplayer on the PS4. Not saying out there, because PC has such a vast range of choices and more stable, probably more balanced games, but on the PS4 I genuinely think that Battlefield 4 is your best bet for first person warfare. Battlefield Hardline is cops and robbers, as you probably already know. So I'll start off with sort of the good points where it differs, and then I'll come up with some sort of basic and some bad points as well, because this isn't amazing, but it's not bad, and it's not as bad as I expected it to be. As a Battlefield fan, I'm as much a critic as I am a person who praises the series. I slated Battlefield 4 when it was first released. It was unplayable, and I think I blame EA more than DICE for that one. I think DICE are a fantastic developer, and I think they've got some great tech and great people there. EA, I think, are scumbags, and they do tend to ruin series. Dragon Age being one of them, until Inquisition. Mass Effect 3 was pretty poor compared to the first two, and Dead Space 3, in my opinion, was not a patch on the first two. They kind of make games more for their casual players, in my opinion. So Battlefield Hardline, when I heard about this, I thought, oh, here we go. They're annualizing Battlefield. One thing that I loved about Battlefield was the fact that it came out every 2-3 years. You could get a good few years play out of one Battlefield. Have time to enjoy all the map packs before the next one came out, and it wasn't just Call of Duty, Call of Duty, Call of Duty, or FIFA, you know, same thing every year. Battlefield 4 is probably the most similar to a previous Battlefield, as in it is quite similar to Battlefield 3. Hardline is a bit like that as well. It's the same engine. It uses the same engine as 4, which is Frostbite 3, I'm pretty sure. So it looks great, if not spectacular. It looks good on the PS4, and it runs well. I think everyone knows that if they want the best experience for graphics and frame rate, then they're going to need to play it on a fairly powerful PC. But, you know, PS4 does a good job of making it look nice, with nice lighting effects and graphics and good sound effects, something that Battlefield has always excelled at. The gameplay is the same in terms of its point and shoot. There's some vehicle warfare. Conquest is capture the flag, basically. Well, you know, capture a base, stand there until it's captured, move on to the next one. So, in terms of the feel of the game, I actually think that when I went into it, I felt as though it did feel different to Battlefield 4. I don't know what it was. it felt a wee bit looser, not in a bad way. The guns seem to have less range on them, like the assault rifle seemed to have a little bit less range. Now that could be a design choice, because the levels, even on 64 players, are I'm pretty sure going to be smaller. Not small, but smaller than Battlefield 4. And you're probably going to be shooting people at a closer range. So they probably don't want to make the guns too accurate at long range, otherwise, you know, you'll be getting shot by assault rifles from across the map. So they seem to lose accuracy after quite a short distance. But they're satisfying still, the guns are satisfying. I started off with the assault and played with that for a wee while. Then went on to, I think it was the Enforcer, which has a shotgun, which was very satisfying up close. And there was another class that I tried which had a suppressed MP5, which was also good fun. The level I played was kind of like in a Texan desert, and you go between sort of buildings. There's a motel, there's a diner, there's a garage, and you go between them. And another thing that I thought was a good point about this game was it felt more tactical. Now, I know Battlefield's always been more tactical than the likes of COD, not as much as Counter-Strike obviously, but you know, if you get a good team, it's a lot more tactical, and you can win a game by playing with clever tactics. This felt a wee bit more like that. I felt as though I was attacking points with a group of 3 or 4 players, and they were with me, they were attacking it with me. And you do occasionally get that in Battlefield 4, but it might be the size of the maps, or just, you know, because it's massive warfare, the players tend to spread out more and there's less teamwork. In this, maybe it was just the game I played, but it felt as though there was a little bit more teamwork involved, and people were checking corners and they were following up behind me, using their gadgets to good effect. Like I said, the graphics are great and it controls fine. The vehicle combat and the vehicle driving has always been a bit hit or miss in Battlefield, and it's still the same. But if you go into Battlefield having Hardline, having played previous ones, you'll know what to expect. Where this differs as well is that you earn money when you get kills or captures, defend points. That was a glitch actually. I was shooting the guy, but it was just not hitting him. That was obviously a glitch. But yeah, you earn cash, and so I quite like the idea of this, although I didn't go into depth with it. Rather than just unlocking a set few, sort of a progress of unlocks for your gun, so like this sight, then a suppressor, then a bipod, and you know, 3 out of those 4 things or whatever you might not want, and you're like, God, I've still got to get 100 more kills to unlock this green laser sight that I want, or something like that. Where Hardline sort of changes that as you earn money and you buy the attachments and upgrades that you want, which I suppose is kind of like Counter-Strike in a way, but it's permanent obviously in Battlefield. And I do like that. I do like that. Just a bit more personalisation there, less grinding, and I just really like that. Something else that I liked about the game was that it seemed to be that the map that, what am I trying to say here? Sorry, the mini-map is far better, and just little tweaks from Battlefield 4 that change it and make it better. One of the main ways in which they do this is when you're capturing a flag. If you look at the minimap, you can see there in the bottom left there's kind of a blue outline. That shows you where you need to stand in the vicinity to capture the flag, and that was something that just helped a lot. You could stay in there to capture it, whereas in Battlefield 4 you kind of you would move 1 foot and you would be out the capture point, and you might miss getting a captured flag or defending a flag, and that was annoying. Another thing is it actually tells you when a flag is contested, so you know that there's someone about. I know it went silent in Battlefield 4, so you could kind of tell there was someone nearby, but actually telling you, it's just it's just a great way, and it kind of creates a fun game of hide and seek where you have to go and find the other person. So yeah, I like those little tweaks about the game. Things about the game that weren't so great. I mean, on the whole, I was surprised by it. I was hoping not to like this game purely because I didn't like the fact that it was another release Battlefield when I didn't think they needed one. It was cops and robbers, which I will go into, but I didn't think was, a great idea. And I really still enjoy Battlefield 4, so I didn't want to like this because I wanted to keep playing Battlefield 4 and not this. And I didn't end up enjoying this. But anyway, it's not all, fun and games. There are some bad points. The graphics are good but not great, so you won't be blown away by them if you've played Battlefield 4, so don't expect them to be a step up really. They are slightly different, slightly smoother, more rounded edges, maybe a slightly less serious look almost. And maybe that's because it doesn't take itself as seriously. And that's a good thing. But the frame rate's not perfect. It is fine for the majority of players. In fact, they probably won't even notice when it drops. But, it's not a constant 60 frames per second by any means. And it does drop occasionally. If you're into knowing that kind of thing. Most people aren't. Another thing is that the theme, I'll go back to the theme, I said cops and robbers, I didn't really like the idea of it. When you're playing, it doesn't matter, it kind of works, it's kind of cool, the weapons are fine, but the cops and robbers, it doesn't really, when you think about it, the theme doesn't really fit in. When are 32 cops and 32 robbers going to be running around a wee village, killing each other continuously, when there's nothing really about that the robbers were stealing or anything? They're just having a gunfight, running around, killing each other like war. It just doesn't quite seem right when you think about it, but when you're in the middle of a game, it doesn't really matter. Also, something that I did try a couple of times, you've probably seen in this video, and I managed to do it, I think, in a clip coming up here. I don't think the scenery is as destructible as it is in 4 and 3. I managed to destroy this little house, but earlier on you saw me fighting around a motel. There are other kind of larger houses, and I don't think you can destroy any of the walls or the cover. I think it's completely undestructible. I think, items in the buildings are destructible, and the smaller buildings are destructible, like that small shed back there. But I think, like that motel and the garage and the diner, you can't level them or even change the way it looks, or even blow out a wall or something. I'm not asking for you to totally flatten every single building, but if someone's hiding behind a wall in Battlefield, everyone knows that you blow up the wall with a rocket launcher, and they're either exposed or they're killed. So that was a bit of a bugbear. But overall, I was actually impressed with the game. It ran far better than Battlefield 4 did at this stage, and that's good. And for anyone who loves Battlefield, at least try it out, because you might be surprised. I know there's going to be haters for this, and I went into it not wanting to like it, but I came out of it having enjoyed a good few games of Battlefield Hardline. So thanks for listening to me ramble on, and we'll see you in the next one.
PlayStation